All right, so Sunday mornings, most comfortable, least threatening thing a Christian can do. And I think it's actually costing us more than we actually realize. So I want you to think for a second about your average Christian week and what that looks like. And I can tell you what my week used to look like when I was just a early believer. Is it revolved entirely around Sunday, right? It was go throughout the week, do everything you can to get to Sunday just so you can kind of be filled up and be ready to go. And then you'd feel really good. And then you'd get back to the week. And hopefully what you got on Sunday would get you through the rest of the week. Maybe there's a Wednesday midweek thing in there and some serving and some other church activities. But everything about my early Christian life centered around the church. And for all intents and purposes, that sounds perfectly okay, right? That sounds actually probably a little bit like it's supposed to sound, okay? But what happens is church attendance then becomes the primary metric of spiritual health. And so let me show you what I mean. So back when I was a Christian school teacher, we actually, every Monday, part of my job as the Bible teacher and theology guy was to make sure that everybody attended church. And I would hand out these little half sheets of paper, and it would be, did you attend church, yes or no? And if you did, what did you learn? Because they're kids, they're probably going to lie. And that was sort of our spiritual litmus test for like where our kids were, and we would keep track of that. And I didn't grade it. That would be weird. But we kind of just wanted to know. And we thought that, if kids are just going to church, right, if they're going to youth group, then that must be the best possible indicator of spiritual growth. In fact, that was one of the things that I was challenged to do as a Christian educator, was try to figure out, how do you sort of quantify spiritual growth? And so much of it, because we're so wanting numbers and all these crazy things, that was what we thought would work. Like, well, let's just look at how much they're going to church. Let's look at how much they're doing the Christian-y kinds of things. And the most Christian-y kind of thing you can do is go to church, go on a mission trip, go to youth group, those kinds of things, right? So let's just count those and see. And hopefully the kids who do that the most will be the most Christian, maybe. I'm not sure how that works, but that's kind of what we did. And what it does is it kind of made sense. Like, it's sort of just for us, it made sense to make it the default. And for the institution of the church or of the Christian school or just the Christian institution in general, we want to know that we're making progress. We want to know that people are becoming disciples. And so that's what we do. And I actually think it's more costly than we realize. I think it's too comfortable. It's not threatening enough. And it's not really healthy for us to do it that way. So the problem with that goal is that when attendance becomes the finish line, then everything else that we do actually becomes optional. Right? So that massive ask that God is making of you, right? The financial contribution that you need to make, or the missional contribution that you need to make. Maybe God is asking you to do something, go somewhere, talk to somebody, dive into something unknown, take a chance, go through suffering, or whatever it might be. We look at all of those things as now optional. Right? So the actual act of being a disciple, the actual stuff that we need to do that requires us to, when we follow Jesus, requires us to do, suddenly we're looking at those things going, not today, God. I went to church, I read my Bible, I went to youth group, I went to my community group, I cut my neighbor's yard, I did everything that is comfortable. And I checked all those boxes that I'm used to checking, and that's going to be it, right? It actually makes everything else optional. And so that's the consumer church model. Show up, receive, and leave, right? Show up, receive, and leave. Show up, receive, and leave week after week after week after week, when nothing else actually changes in our lives. We're like, oh my gosh, right? And so what are the things then get crowded out when Sunday becomes the summit? When Sunday is the highest thing that we can do, what's left, right? And everything else just sort of gone, right? The Great Commission was never to fill seats. That's not what Jesus said. He didn't say, go into all the earth and fill seats. That's not how this worked, right? Jesus said, bring the kingdom of heaven to earth. He said, go and make disciples. And when he taught the disciples how to pray, it was thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, right? That was part of the discipleship mandate. And so discipleship is actually a 24/7 identity. It's not a weekly event that we should be attending. It's something that who we are. And the act of going to church is really just to help us, equip us, encourage us, build us up, give us a little bit more, remind us that we are in community, remind us that we are not alone in it, have a minute to stop and go, God, I'm giving you all the praise. I'm giving you everything that belongs to me, and I want more of you, so I'm giving you more of me, right? And that really is sort of what church is for. It's not to have another program. It's not to have another way to bring people in. Lowest hanging fruit in the world when it comes to evangelism. Hey, come to church. Like, let my pastor do it and I won't. Really, guys? Come on. Like, that is not what Jesus asked us to do. He didn't say, go therefore and bring friends to church. That is not the mission. I promise you, okay? Sunday is a tool. Sunday is just a tool. It's not a destination. And so what could actually change when you treat every environment as a mission field? So I'm going to be honest with you, all right? So I was all bought into just like, hey, I need to get people in front of me. I need to be discipling them. I need to shelter them as much as I possibly can so that they will get as much education and information as possible. And then once I feel like they've got enough of that information and education, then I'll send them off into the world. And that was sort of my mind frame. That's what seminary taught me. And that's what I was trying to even do to myself. But here is what I discovered is that my faith was nothing more than intellectual assent. I just knew a lot of stuff. And I said that I trusted God. I said that I trusted Jesus. And I'll tell you what, I did not. Because every time I was challenged, every time it was like, all right, the bank account's too low. Or every time it was like, a job situation changed or a relationship situation changed or something just in life, because life is hard sometimes, that sometimes it got hard. And I went, wait a minute, what are you doing, God? This is not the deal. The deal was I would go into ministry, I would do all these things for you, and you would make my life exactly what I needed it to be, and I would have the platform and all these things that I needed. And when life got hard, I cursed him for making it hard on me. And that is obviously the dumbest thing in the world to do. But it wasn't until I did something wildly different that I learned what discipleship actually looks like and how it can impact my kids and the rest of my family, okay? So what we did, my son is a race car driver, 11 years old, and he drives race cars. It's cool, okay? It's very, very cool, a lot of fun. You could put us in the same category as a lot of other travel sport parents, right? And I know how travel sport parents are, and I know how this gets with some churches, is churches like, stop doing travel sports, stop playing games on Sundays, and get your ass to church. Well, guess what? We don't go to church on Sundays. We don't need to, okay? Because here's the deal. Here's what we learned. Discipleship is something that happens when you are in the middle of where God has placed you. We love the racetrack. And what we realize is the more and more that we raced and the more our son enjoyed it, the more we wanted to be there. And the more we were there, the more we got to know the people. The more we got to know the people, the more we got to love the people. And the more we got to love the people, the more we realized how dark the community actually was and how much they needed Jesus. So rather than me go to church on Sunday, I went to the people on Sunday. Our entire family went to the people on Sunday. We went where the need is. We went where God called us. So we actually took a massive leap of faith. We sold our house. We pretty much got rid of all of our belongings except the essentials. We lived on the road for an entire year, just ministering, just seeing what would happen if we just let God be God and trusted him with every moment. And it wasn't just about bolstering or encouraging or even showing what faith in Jesus looks like to another community. It was instilling an actual faith into myself, my wife, and my kids. And so now, more than a year later, almost 2 years later, everything that we do is handed over to him, and we trust him with all of it. And yes, we have partner churches, and we have communities of churches that we love attending when we can be there. And we love being a part of those communities. But you cannot believe for 1 second that the end result of a Christian life is to just be attending church and maybe doing a little bit of service. It's finding God's purpose and leaning fully into that purpose, no matter what that looks like and no matter what that means. That's what he's put us here for. He didn't put us here so that we could escape and just go to heaven and be like, woo, I believe in Jesus, now I'm out of here. He put us here so that we could be his light, his hands, his feet, and let people know that guess what? There's a God who loves them, and we can live in a better world, a world in which God is king. Okay? And that's the idea. And so I wrote it all down, right? I had to write it all down. So I did write a book about it and a little Devo that goes with it called Trusting Him with Tuesday. Okay. And it is available on Amazon. I'll put the link in there in case you're interested. Would love for you to take that and grab it a read. But here is my encouragement for today. Okay. Think about what it would look like for you to live outside of the church building and have a faith that's not just a Sunday thing, but a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Thursday, a Friday, and a Saturday thing. What would it look like to lean fully into God's purpose for your life right here, right now, and not worry about what that looks like for Sunday, and use Sunday for what it's for, and use yourself for what God has for you? That's my encouragement for today. I hope that helps, and we'll see you guys soon.